Time is now 3:30 p.m. I call to order the meeting of the Ways and Means Committee. A copy of this meeting may be found on the county website. Please silence your cell phones and electronic devices. And at this time, I'll ask you to stand and join me for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First of all, I'd like to thank Chairman Hines for the opportunity to serve in this capacity on this very important committee. And with that said, we'll move right on to agenda item number A1. County exec, roll call. Roll call.
Benton.
Here.
Anagnestakis. O'Donnell. Fagioli.
Here.
Cheney.
Here.
Paduk.
Here.
Luhan. Eller.
Here.
3 absent.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to agenda item A1. County Executive Newhouse,
And the county attorney's going to come
County
in.
Attorney Rick
I'm good
Golden.
cop, he's bad cop. So I talked to Chairman Hines this morning, and I obviously talked to the county attorney. We work obviously hand in hand here, but the new president and the administration put a suspension on all, pretty much anything that's not social security. And I'm not panicking about it. I know everybody should be concerned about it. Here's my take on it, and I talked to Steve Aquario from the Association of the Counties, and I know Rick is the attorney, he's supposed to be worried. It's a new administration. So anything that the Biden-Harris administration promised over the last 6 months, and earmarks to, this happens all the time. It happened when I took office from the prior administration. We have a right, and the county legislature has a right to look at what was promised before and to see where we can make cost savings or make changes on what they think their policy should be funded on. So I'm not necessarily panicked that we're going to lose massive amounts of federal money. We do have a lot of stuff that we depend on. One of the things I talked about on with actually Legislator Sassy today, we spoke to a Rotary breakfast, was that our biggest chunk to run county government is sales tax, and then the next one is really federal and state aid and real property tax. So we do rely on federal aid. I'm not as worried about it. If there's something that's catastrophically at risk, like some of the programs we have that I need to talk to you about, then maybe you need to talk about possibly talking to our state or federal representatives. I'll definitely include you. You guys are too. You guys are plugged into NISAC and NACO. The other thing is if it's extreme, we'll talk about litigation. I don't even think we're even there yet. Right now, this is a brand new administration. I talked to the Deputy White House Chief of Staff is from the Hudson Valley. I spoke to him on Sunday. They just got the keys to this place. So I'm not panicked about any of our major programs or people being left on the street. None of us would ever let that happen. So I'm basically, taking a wait and see approach. And like I said, NISAC and NACO are 100% plugged in watching what's going on. But I look at this as a typical changing of the guard, new administration, seeing, what was promised and what they really believe in, what is really discretionary. So I'll leave it to you, Debbie Downer, to take the opposite approach.
Well, it's the opposite approach. It's supposed to go into effect today at 5 o'clock. The problem is that nobody knows what it is, right? And we don't know what's going to be covered, what's not going to be covered. There's even confusion among the highest levels of the Trump administration. Groups were talking to them about, well, that means that Meals on Wheels go forward. And they said no, because that's a direct individual grant, but it's not an individual grant. It goes to municipalities, it goes to not-for-profits. So nobody really knows what it's going to cover. I think that's going to be shaken out probably in the next few days as to what it is. Although if it went for a long period of time and we continue to give services and then we got no federal money, the county might be on the hook for that. But I think, as Steve said, there's no reason to panic now and to pull back anything. And so there are lawsuits already that are challenging this, that are in play, that have been filed, at least 2 in the District of Columbia. And so I think that also there might be a TRO that stops it temporarily until it's determined exactly what it is. I concur with Steve that it's nothing to panic about over now, but you should be concerned about it, keep an eye on it.
And we had a number of Orange County residents, not county employees, that have taken high-level or good jobs in the Trump administration. And they have told me, and I'm not picking favorites here on it, but they told me they barely got a turnover. And that's happened. Look, I've had good turnovers with jobs. Some of you guys have had the same thing. Sometimes you get no turnover. Sometimes you get a set of keys. So I know people that have taken senior jobs in the administration that got their keys at 12:15 last Monday when the president was sworn in, and that was the extent of their turnover. So I think that they're using this as a fact finding. I don't think they're going to hold this. I'm hoping they're not going to hold any programs hostage. But obviously, when we have a big operation like the county and the rest of the 61 counties in the state, they're concerned about it as well, and the rest of the country. But again, I'm taking a wait and see approach. But if there's something that I think any of our programs are in danger that you guys need to know about it, I will definitely be front and center with the attorney, with the county, with the chairman of the legislature, fighting for the citizens. And I don't think we're at that level. Good?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Thank you for the update.
Yeah, so there's no fear on ARPA money that's earmarked and unspent, there's no clawback that we're hitting? That's my biggest fear.
Great point.
There's been no determination yet by the administration as to what is or isn't included. I would think that if that was at risk, they would have made that clearer than what they have done. It appears from press releases and other leaked things that most of what they're concerned with is not necessarily the money on the big programs, including things like infrastructure that we've spent it on, but they wanted to review these grants to see not whether these grants were for DEI and other things, that there's a change in policy in federal government on these things. And so that's what it seemed to be, that there was a pause in order to make, they didn't want to continue funding these types of things. There was abortion, there was DEI, there was 3 or 4 other things that seemed to be the focus of this and not generally stopping grant funding.
But there are a ton of federal projects that have not gotten off the ground that have been funded, that are sitting out there. We've done this stuff in our county stuff, but we've had grants that have never been executed, that we've gotten over years. We cleaned them up on our books. So I think the federal government, going back to your question of ARPA funding, if you don't have things that are scheduled to be done, then why do you need it? If you haven't used it now, why not? So I think there's still going to be a lot of communities across the country that aren't squared away like ours. We have a great staff, they're all around the room with me, that are fighting to make sure we have the spending. Or you guys have seen as we'd have to move things around to the priority level. But I think that those folks are going to be in trouble if they don't have their story together on how they're going to use those funds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? You want to give us the sales tax update?
Yeah,
Carry up.
So there's been a lot of drama in the news about sales tax, not from us, but I talked about this last.
I'm sorry?
You got a motion.
No, we're just going to discuss it.
Letter, any on
You
your
want a
agenda?
motion too?
It's on your agenda.
It's a B, right?
Yeah.
That's just a discussion.
Yeah, I think it's just discussion. We don't need a motion to discuss it.
It's the request to have the 3/4.
No, we're doing B first. We're going out of order.
No, doing A first, the sales tax update is second.
That's what he's doing, sales tax update.
So he's.
He wants to talk about the 3/4%.
So if you want something.
That's why he's here.
Well, let him, he
So
wants to do a motion.
Second.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members of the legislature. So there's been a lot of talk. We're up to renew our sales tax, right? In the news, some counties like, well, do we need to do this full extent? And I will tell you, we should be super proud as a county legislature and the county executive, and more importantly, the staff behind me that made all this happen. We have a great record here in the county. And I'm gonna say why it's important that we keep the sales tax the way it is. First off, if you don't keep it at this rate, what we would be losing, and I'll pick on Glenn because he's the chairman and he's a friend of mine, and he represents Chester and Warwick. Just that 10% that we'd be giving up, and Barry, obviously, you represent, and I go around the room, I can ask Mike Padu, but you can tell me, you walk in. Chester would lose, it's 10 million collectively for the towns, villages, and cities. My town of Chester taxes went up 20% this year, obscene. I think it's the highest tax rate in the county, that went a tax increase. They would lose another 175,000 this year that they have budgeted. as well as the town of Warwick would lose $396,000. Now, I can go around, I'll pick on Kevin Hines, because he's chairman of the legislature. He's also a good friend of mine as well. Kevin Hines represents the village of Cornwall and Hudson would lose $62,000 this year. The town of Cornwall would lose $199,000 that they had budgeted. All right, so what can we do to help the taxpayers? Let me just tell you what we're doing. I'll start with myself. Just in the last 4 years, since 2021 to 2025, my taxes have gone 16% down, hundreds of dollars, town taxes. Mike Paduch, yours have gone down. Let's talk about Glenn Ellers. I'm gonna pick on him next because he's the chairman of this. Your
Just like
town
the term
taxes,
For Steve, that's the town.
your county taxes
Excuse me.
have went down 20.9%. You, as being a county legislator, have been part of a solution, and everybody around this room has gone down. My friend Kevin Hines is hosting all the town supervisors in Chester tonight. I mean in Cornwall, sorry. I live in Chester, so that's close to mine. Your taxes in the town of Cornwall have gone up in the last 4 years. Your town taxes went up. Your county taxes have gone down 11.9%. That's the record you guys have. Hundreds of dollars of relief. Now, the punishment that you would have is by leaving that money, your town's gonna be floundering. They're gonna be floundering for money that they budget for this year. You can't do it. I don't think it'd be prudent. So what do you do with this surplus money? We're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on doing projects that we are obligated to do. Fixing our pipes, fixing a water system that's never worked in a jail since we opened the jail. That's where all this surplus money is gonna be going towards. I spent a couple hours yesterday with our parks and our DPW commissioners and all their teams on how we're gonna continue to invest money on it. So when I hear people say, well, what should we do with the sales tax? Let's just not do it, or let's just reduce it. That's at risk. You would crucify, you represent Kevin Darian, who's also a friend of mine, represents the city of Newburgh. They would be out $1.3 million this year. You want to do Port Jervis for Tom Fagione? $421,000. You've already given a property tax break, which you're not obligated to do. You're supposed to keep the taxes flat. We've been able to cut real money for the residents that we represent. But at the same time, this sales tax that we generate by being pro-economic development is really vital to every community. I can go around the table. I said the city. I'll go to town of Newburgh to show Lee some love. 650,000. Now Mike.
Sorry, Lee.
Now Mike, what town of Walk Hill is 619,000. It's a real dollars, guys. Every town. I mean, Glenn, I go through your town of Warwick. It's gone down in some levels, but it's gone up at some levels. So, I got everybody's numbers here, and I can tell you that it's sunshine all the time, and you guys can say things are good or bad, but these are the facts. Got Glenn Ellers, Steve Newhouse. I got the supervisors, the town mayors, the legislators. So that's why, honestly, it's important because that money lost is going to be hard hitting to families. And, I know there's a lot of pressure out there. There's inflation and eggs when I'm talking about all this stuff with you guys, but real property tax is what we control here. And we're doing a good job at it. And the department heads in this room and their staff are the really ones that make this happen. So Carrie, you want to fill in any gaps I'm missing here?
Sure, no. Oh, so you said it. So basically, this is step one of the request that we're just asking to maintain a 3/4 increase for a 2-year period. We came to the table the other day and it was passed, so now we're just hoping for the same proposal to be passed.
Any other questions from the committee?
No, just a comment. I think we should do it and keep it the same. I think Mike Paduch and I were probably the only two in this room when we passed it the very first time, which was a big debate and a big thing to do it for the first time.
I said this last week with Janet Sutherland, which is her committee, and look, the sales tax doesn't impact every county resident as a property tax. You're not getting away with it. Mike Paduch's paying property tax in his house. Steve Newhouse is paying property tax in his house. At least some of the sales tax that is generated in this county, people that are shopping at Woodbury Commons, people that are visiting Legoland over the weekends, that's outside people spending money here. So I'd rather hit the sales tax heavier than I would a property tax. That's why I'm big in property tax relief. Those are our people. those are our residents.
And I said it last meeting, and I'll say it again. This is the number one call I get. When am I getting this money? I left the meeting the other day and I had 3 supervisors call me asking, when are we getting the money? They've already had it spent before they've received it.
Mr. Cheney?
No, the county executive got
Yeah.
to it before I did. When I was gonna make. a good one.
No other comments or questions? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Carried. Thank you.
They shouldn't budget it, they should look at it. Yes, right now.
Okay, carried. And we
Do you mind if I just
will,
bring
You
it
need to carry it, no?
No, you're good. Thank you. I like having him with me. I go first. This is an honor.
okay, go ahead with the sales tax.
Sure, so we are done through January. Year to date, we are under projected budget by 3.8 million or 1.38%. For the month of January, we were down 4.69% or $851,000.
Sums it up.
Yeah.
Any questions from the committee?
It was pretty much, and from the NISAC articles and such, statewide.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're lucky it was only that much,
Mhm.
not bad like others. Karen?
Go ahead.
Are we seeing any areas of softness in the economy and in how the sales tax is coming in, where it's coming in from?
So again, we are one of the counties that relies heavily on the retail industry. That is still our number one factor for us. I am not, I just think people are concerned, and I say it all the time, when you're going to the grocery store, you're spending more at the grocery store and less disposable income. And I think that's affecting us.
So we're starting to see it in the retail
Yes,
sector?
a little bit, yes.
Thank you. Do we have another payment coming from the Christmas season?
We do. We have 2 payments coming in February, but it works a little different because it's accrued revenue. So for the county, we get a portion of that that's going to hit our 24 number. For the municipalities, last February hit 24. So this current February will hit the 25 year. So we will see something, but that's budgeted also. So it depends how that comes in.
But I'm talking about when
The
the
extra
Christmas
bonus?
season was
Yeah.
a good season or not.
We don't know yet.
We'll know,
We'll
We'll know in
then.
February.
we'll know in
Yep.
February when we report in February, obviously in March. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
thank you. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
All right, next up, Kelly Esky, County Clerk. James McGee, Deputy County Clerk. I can see Ed English over there.
I'm taking Ed's place.
Okay.
Jim.
Jim.
Here.
Jim.
Good afternoon. I've been
Hold
here.
on, hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We have a.
Okay.
Okay.
I've been here before. Today is like the last step. This was already approved through capital project. It's for a planetary
Kelly,
scan.
just hold on. Just read the whole request. Okay, so we have a request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget to purchase a planetary scanner. This is proposed capital project number 21 of 2025, capital plan, $50,000 bonding, request number 027. Can I have a motion now again?
So
moved. Second.
Got that, Benton, Luhan? Okay, now you're up, Kelly.
Okay. So this is for a planetary scanner. We brought one of the old books that you could see. This is naturalization documents. And this gets looked at quite often. You can see it's in very fragile shape. With this piece of equipment, we would be able to scan this and preserve it, and it would be available to the public and our clerks to do research and to be able to use. So we have spent nearly $300,000 of capital project money in the last 2 years digitizing with outside sources. This would enable us to digitize in-house and save money. It fits with our Iron Mountain plan to reduce that cost. So digital records generate revenue from our online records, subscriptions for 2024, it was $438,000. So there's also revenue that's made from this. So it just would make it so that we can scan big fragile documents.
I like the presentation. You brought the oldest book you could find.
No, that's not the oldest, but that's one. There was one that was worse that we left downstairs. You have to use these gloves to like look at
Mr.
this.
Benton?
I see the new cover. What's the original date on the book?
1925 are the documents.
So you can imagine earlier stuff is in even
Oh, yeah.
more fragile shape.
Any other questions from the committee? Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
You. Next up, Lacey Trimble, Commissioner for Social Service and Mental Health. Come up. Request supplemental appropriation from the designated surplus for the payments of intergovernmental transfers, $4,581,094. Legislative request number 321.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. This is a request to take funds that were set aside from surplus, expecting this bill to be coming in and not receiving it yet. We had to wait to this point to be able to determine what funds to be transferred over so that the IGT payment could be made. So it was expected. It's just a matter of the timing of when it came in. We do it at this point.
Questions from the committee? Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is Mr. Lane Hunt. Standing in for Glenn today.
We have Justin Clifford here also.
Justin Clifford. Welcome. So we have request supplemental appropriation to capital project budget for ongoing technology updates. This is proposed capital project number 71 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created, $3,690,000 bonding. Legislative request number 307.
So
Motion.
moved.
Kevin, second, anything? Have a second to discuss?
So moved.
Fagione? Okay,
Yeah, this is, request is to, fund the equipment that we need to replace of end of life infrastructure, across the county. There are servers, routers, switches, across the whole area. We want to be able to fortify our new cybersecurity efforts, and this will allow us to bring the infrastructure into the new world. Let's just say that.
any questions from the committee? Okay, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next up, we have Alan Sorensen and Stacy Butler, Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner. It's only Alan today.
Only me today.
Okay, so letter AI, request to rescind resolution number 277 of 2024 dated 12/5/2024. I have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Got that, Karen? Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
thank you. Yeah, the reason that we need to rescind this resolution, when I presented the original resolution in December, I was under the assumption, which was in error, that the easement would be held by both the Orange County Land Trust and the state of New York. That's no longer the case with the Farmland Protection Implementation Grant, so the resolution had to be revised to reflect that the conservation easement will be held simply by the Orange County Land Trust. So that's the first step. We need to asking that you rescind that resolution.
So why is the state of New York not part of this one?
State of New York is actually funding it. So it's through the Ag and Markets Farmland Protection Implementation Grant. But they no longer request to be the co-owner of the easement. So it's going to be held by the land trust, and they'll be responsible for holding the conservation easement, monitoring it, and enforcing.
This is standard practice throughout lately, I believe, or
Yes, yeah.
any other questions from the committee? Number one. I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, number 2, request that the legislature hold a public hearing under NYS GML 247 regarding the acquisition of a conservation easement over the Morshesky Farm in the town of Warwick. The Orange County Land Trust will acquire, hold, and monitor the conservation easement. Motion, please.
So moved.
Barry Cheney,
Second.
Fagione. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, it's a requirement under New York State General Municipal Law 247 that the legislature holds a public hearing prior to acquisition of the conservation easement. So that is the request that is scheduled a public hearing.
any questions from the committee? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
You have a date for it?
I'm sorry?
Date for the public hearing?
February 21st.
It's in the, on the bottom, yeah, it's 2/21 for 2025. Okay, moving on to number 3. Request to authorize the acquisition of an undivided interest and a conservation easement concerning the Morshesky Farm, stating the maximum cost thereof is $272,569, not to exceed 25% of the project cost, and appropriating said amount through the 2024 Orange County Open Space Fund to pay the cost thereof. Request number 026.
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
Okay, so Ag and Markets through the Farmland Protection Implementation Grant will be providing the other 75% of this match. County's match is 272. The legislature, as you know, established the Open Space Fund in 2024 with $1 million. And so we're requesting to use just a portion of that, the 272,569 for the Morshesky Farm conservation easement.
any questions? Mr. Paduk?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the easement, the state of New York staying on as a co-medicinal, right? It says it here. We, so the county will hold the easement with the state of New York.
It shouldn't say that. It'll. Is that in the resolution or the?
Yeah, the resolution, right?
That was the one that was just rescinded.
What?
That was the one that was just rescinded.
The other one.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yes.
the one. Yeah, number 1.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was like, no, I didn't want to make that mistake. Okay, so thank you.
Yeah, after all that work. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, we'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Eric Devanga, Commissioner, Department of Public Works, and Ryan Dwyer, Deputy Commissioner. We have a request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget in the amount of $300,000 for various drainage improvements projects. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 31 for $100,000 bonding. The balance of the $200,000 is from the state consolidated local street and highway improvement program. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. Request number 029.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
This went through fiscal services last night, passed. As you imagine, this is an annual ask. We typically come in and make sure we have money in reserve for projects like this. Imagine with over 300 miles of road and hundreds of culverts that we have. We need to be ready to address drainage improvements on a moment's notice. We also do have some planned projects immediately, which we'll ask Ryan to share with you.
So this year we have a project on County Route 12, right near the Rutgers Creek. It's a concrete box culvert that we're planning to replace. It's very similar to the one we did last year. There's a series of culverts in that area that have been degrading. So we're looking to continue that project. And we're also planning to replace a culvert on County Route 83, which is Scotchtown Avenue, right here near the Walk Hill River.
Questions for the commissioners? Barry?
Any change in the elevations on this Rutgers Creek culvert relative to some of the issues in the black dirt?
It's really an equalizer culvert, so as the Rutgers Creek were to flood, this allows County Route 12 to pass the water underneath it instead of acting as a dam. So we're holding the same size and same width.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next up, Travis Ewald, Commissioner, Department of Parks and Recreation. Tina Crawford, Deputy Commissioner. Is Meredith here?
Not today.
Travis, you've been busy. Okay. Letter A, request to enter into supplemental agreement number 2 with the New York State Department of Transportation to increase funding for capital project number 725. The said agreement will increase the preliminary engineering and change the contract end date for Heritage Trail segment number 3. Funding will be increased by $159,000, $127,200 federal, $31,800 county share as bonding. This is not in the capital plan. Supplemental appropriation is requested. Legislative request number 001. Kevin Darian.
Thank you. This request is for a capital project. It's for the Heritage Trail Segment 3 project, which is starts at West Main Street in the city of Milltown and extends out to Ingracia Road in the town of Walk Hill. And this request would amend the agreement with New York State to extend the term of the agreement and add additional funds for engineering design for the project.
Any questions for the commissioner? All the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Chairman, I'm abstaining.
Did you get the abstention, Kevin? Okay, motion carried. On to letter B, request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for the parks building equipment replacement. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan project number 101. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. $200,000 bonding. Request number 002.
So moved.
Second.
This request is for capital that will be utilized to replace equipment throughout various building facilities in our parks. Two of the projects that are initially intended for this would be replacement of the HVAC equipment at the Hickory Hill and the Stony Ford golf course lodges. And then the remainder of the funds would be utilized for as needed for any unforeseen equipment replacements, whether it's a boiler, hot water heaters, etc.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Faggio. Motion carried. Move on to letter C. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for parks equipment. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 103. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. $127,128 bonding. Request number 003.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Cheney. Okay.
Thank you. This request is for a capital project for equipment replacement throughout our parks maintenance facilities. And it's intended to replace a pickup truck and 2 workmen that are all over 20 years old, along with a trailer mounted air compressor unit that we utilize for winterizing our different parks facilities and blowing out the irrigation systems at both golf courses. And that air compressor is over 30 years old.
Like the 30-year, 20-year bonds. a little tough. Any other questions from the committee or comments?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. On to letter D, request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for the Stony Ford pump control. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 102. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created, $89,265 bonding, request number 004.
So moved.
Second.
Get that, Ben? Okay.
This request is for the replacement of the pump control panel at Stony Ford Golf Course, which controls the automated irrigation systems at the golf course. The panels are from the 90s. Parts are becoming difficult to source. And the intent is to replace it with a newer panel that adds additional functionality to it.
Questions? Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed or abstaining? Abstaining. Gotcha. Okay, motion carried. We'll move on to letter E, request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for Hickory Hill golf equipment. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan. Project number 104. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. $150,801 bonding, request number 005. Motion.
So moved.
Cheney. Second, anybody?
Second.
Benton? Okay.
This capital is for equipment at the Hickory Hill Golf Course. It's to replace an existing greens mower that's 20+ years old. It's to acquire a new all-purpose seeder that would be shared between both golf courses. And it would be to acquire a new gator for Hickory Golf Course. Right now, the piece of equipment that gator would be replacing is a leased utility golf cart. And some of the issues that we're having with that is that the staff has to use that piece of equipment to get from the maintenance garage down a public road to or down a road to the golf course. And sometimes it's in low light conditions. There's no lights on the utility cart. The gators will provide a hydraulic dump, more capacity, improved work output for the staff on that. And it'll also be replacing a pickup truck at Hickory Hill.
Questions from the committee and comments? I just have one on bonding equipment like this. I'd like to know the time frame that our bond lasts for a truck like this. This type of thing. 5. Is it 5 or 10?
I can confirm, but I believe it was 5. Yeah.
5 on this one. I just hate to see us bond 10 years or stuff.
Yeah, no, usually it's 5.
As long as it's 5. Yeah, 5 is fine.
And just to be clear, I can't remember a time when we came before legislature for replacement equipment that was 5 years old. Everything is typically 10,
As long
20,
as
30.
it's 10, I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. That's when it gets to long-term bonding. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Yeah, just so both those pickups that you're buying, they stay at each golf course then?
Yes.
You're buying 2 of them, right? One for
The one was for parks maintenance.
okay.
Yep. So that one will go to either Thomas Bowl or one of our outlying parks. And then this one is for Hickory Hill, so they'll stay at Hickory.
But they're both used for the same thing at each park?
So this one at Hickory is used to, haul materials around to go get parts, but it's also used for plowing there.
Both of them are, right?
Yeah, all the pickups that we're buying in this all come with plows. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention. Motion carried. Okay, let's go to letter F. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for Stony Ford Golf Equipment. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 105. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created, $210,788 bonding, request number 006. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. This request is for equipment needed at Stony Ford Golf Course. It'll be also for replacement of a greens mower that's over 20 years old. It'll be for the purchase of a new piece of equipment, which would be a skid steer with a variety of attachments, stump grinder, a power rake, and auger, forks. And that piece of equipment will be shared between both golf courses for repairs, maintenance, and improvements at both golf courses. And then it would be for a small equipment lift that would go in the new Stony Ford Golf Course maintenance garage, so that the equipment can be put up on a lift and worked on in a safer and more efficient manner.
Questions from the committee?
Yeah, just one. Is that kind of like one of those, literally hydraulic lift, four corners, or the one that's like one post with
I don't know whether it's four corners or one post. It's very similar to what you'd have for an automobile. It's just a scaled down version of that.
Okay. Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention. Carried. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Next up, Paul Wiley, Director of Real Property, and Patricia Masterson, Assistant Director of Real Property. Okay, letter A, the request for local law to extend and expand the county property tax exemption granted in local law number 3 of 2023 to qualifying volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers, to include those that volunteer in a district adjoining their home municipalities as allowed by New York real property tax law, section 466-1, extension of benefits and effective as of September 1st, 2024. Request number 315.
So moved.
Who wants to? Okay.
Just first of all, thank you for allowing us to present today. Quick correction, it's 466-L. It's a small L, so it looks a lot like a 1, I understand. It's,
It is a 1, okay.
Yeah, it's actually a change to the law that went in year before last, 466-A. And this past year, New York State added 466-L. And what this does is it extends the exemption that firefighters and volunteer ambulance corps workers can get if they are volunteering in an adjoining district as opposed to one that they did. So it's a small change to the law. It's one that I was hoping that New York State would do when they first passed this one. It seemed to be an oversight on their part, and they have addressed it, so I'm asking that we address it also.
Any questions? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I abstain, please carry on. Okay, letter B, request to increase the limits of the veterans' property tax exemptions under real property tax law 458-B, which has not been increased by Orange County since 2001. Proposed increase would offer some well-deserved relief to our veterans at a minimal cost to the average property owner. Legislative request number 020.
So moved.
Who wants second? Duke?
So I just wanted to say that Tricia and Kathy Witzak in my office have been spearheading this for several months now. And this is again, as so we have not increased this for our veterans since 2001. So I believe it's well past time that we increase the amount to show some relief to our veterans. I'm going to allow Tricia to present a little bit because again, she and Kathy put the information together.
We had put together a few numbers at the back of the packet.
Or I forget, would we all like to sponsor this?
I would think so.
Yes,
Chairman.
Would you like to sponsor? Thank you.
The handouts are a little bit easier to read because some of the charts are in color, and I realize that the black and white copies are a little.
So on the second to the last page, it kind of narrows down everything that we put through in the beginning. just showing the different increases at the different levels. We can raise up to a bunch of different levels for the firemen's, or for the veterans exemptions. And we had given 45, 75, and 150, or the 54, 90, and 180. The one that seemed to go over last meeting was 75, 50, 250, which would increase about $864.34 per parcel on average, with an average increase of $15 per parcel per year. And it would save the average veteran approximately $170. It would give them an increase in their savings. It's kind of hard to pinpoint the savings, only because the levies and the equalization rates, and as you can see in the one Excel spreadsheet, every year with the equalization rates go down, so does the exemption for the veterans. So this will kind of give them a little bit of a push up. Yeah.
Any questions in there? Okay, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll go to letter C for deed sale parcels. I like that first, please.
Yes. So there's only one this month, and somebody has offered $570 as a bid for a property that had back taxes, penalties, and interest of over $7,400 on
I
the.
need to get a motion.
Oh, sorry.
My second, please, to discuss. Fagion. Okay.
No.
okay.
Sorry. So as I said, there's one bid, $570 for a property that had over $7,400 in back taxes, penalties, and interest at our last auction. This is a 1.2 acre but landlocked parcel, but it's commercially zoned. So it has we believe, a higher value, and we would like to get at least a bid that is closer to what is owed rather than just accepting the bid of $570. So I recommend that we reject this bid.
Okay. Questions? Go ahead.
I can't read the name because it's so small. What is the name of the adjoining owner to 27.8 acres?
27, oh, down below? It is kind of hard to read.
Because we have approached the adjoining properties, right?
Yes, we have. We usually sent out mailers, and I don't think we've heard back from anyone, or if they had did a lower number last time that we
Okay.
also rejected. Yeah, I apologize. I can't read that map either. I have the same map that you have.
That's right. Just if it's identified with a name, it's usually.
It's Yeshiva Katrina Setmar KJ.
Oh, that's right behind the old school.
I believe it
That's
is.
where this is.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe it is.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? I will call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Good rejected.
Yeah, a motion to.
Good. Next, we have resolution authorizing the county executive. Oh, we need you back up. It's the same, not Paul. Okay, so this is, yeah. Should have somebody from the county exec's office for this, right?
Yeah.
Please. Yeah, this is reservoir properties and water conservation. It's something we do every year, just so everybody knows. Municipal owned properties.
Go to number 10 in the meantime?
Protect the
I
water.
think we'll just wait 1 second. It's only- it's number 10.
He might not be available.
But if that next.
Okay, we'll skip it. We'll go to number 10 for the moment. Slavinsky, Budget Director. Dina, Budget Director.
Okay.
Okay, letter A, we're gonna request supplemental appropriation of ARPA funds. The request includes the removal of unnecessary awards as follows. Number 1, DMV Capital Project number 174, closing award 10177, reducing by 220,000. Crown Line Capital Project number 539, closing award 539F, reducing by 1,500,000. And the Thomas Bull Capital Project number 798, closing award 798F, reducing by $1 million, and award 100175 by $75,532.53. Award 100175 will be reallocated to salaries and retention. Request number 032. So motion. Lujan, second.
Second.
Benton. Okay.
All right, so basically, when we did the original capital awards for ARPA, we had a federal funding award. When we went to the grant program, we have to have a new award number that has to go into the account. So basically, that is basically what we're doing. Everything is all copacetic. And believe me, yesterday, we did all of our ARPA awards. All of it is obligated at 74 million, yeah, 74 million. So believe me, when I saw the federal funding freeze today, I was glad we did it yesterday, and we have spent 55.6 million. So.
So we've spent 74%,
Yeah.
to answer your question earlier.
So.
Any questions from the committee? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, can we have a, we'll just talk budget update?
Yep, so basically, this is as of December. We are still working. This is a point in time at this point in time. We are over, personal services and fringe benefits are 18 million over last year. But again, we're still working on 2024. We still have POs to close. We still have processing invoices and revenues and accruals and all of that stuff. So it probably will not be finalized until March.
Questions from the committee? For March.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go back to number 8, County Exec's Office. Resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into an agreement with certain Orange County municipalities, providing for the exemption from county taxation of land owned and used by them for water supply and related purposes. Someone say. Lujan, Paduk.
This is just a resolution we re-up every year for the tax exemption on lands used for water. That's basically it.
Okay, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Any opposed?
Sorry, we're
Carried. Okay, last but not least, Chairman Hines. We have a resolution of the Orange County Legislature rescinding resolution number 88 of 1971, 13 of 2002, 33 of 2008, and 87 of 2014, abolishing the Orange County Economic Development Gaming Committee. Pursuant to sections 2.02 and 2.02A and 2.02H of the Orange County Charter, Article 4, Paragraph G of the Legislative Manual, and Section 253 of the New York State County Law. Your motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Lujan, Paduk.
Okay, all right, so this is bad news. The off-track betting committee really doesn't need to exist anymore because the Catskill Off-Track Betting Corporation doesn't really exist. I've been on that committee since I've been here for 15 years, and we used to have significant money and generate money for counties. Catskill no longer does. We looked at trying to merge with Capital, that didn't go anywhere. We had, at one point, I remember them having 12 million in the capital reserve account for Catskill off-track betting, and we asked at that committee, would it be better if we just go out of business and split that money? And it went nowhere. The next time he came back and reported to us, it was at 9 million. I don't know what's left. I assume it's zero when they ran it into the ground. So there's no real reason to track it. And the only reason I'm here today, this already passed E&E rules. The reason I'm at Ways and Means is because there is a caveat on here about the casinos, which do still exist, both in Monticello and Newburgh. And I'm asking this committee to please track that revenue through Commissioner Gallagher on a quarterly basis, just so we have an idea of what we're doing there. So that's why it's before you, because of the piece about tracking the casino games.
Any questions? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you.
One comment. One comment. For the last several years, I've given a report in January of the cash balance for Valley View. And Terry looked it up. We've been over 50 at times, but now we're right around 38. Oh, here comes the exact number.
Ready, holding this, right?
Actually, 38 is not so bad considering the residency is been so low for the years and years, the last 4 or 5 years.
I have 38,932,309.99. Again, that is an unaudited number.
Yep. It's a ballpark.
Excellent. 7%. That's
Yeah. So for a while there, we were making them pay for improvements and we kind of got scared and went back on that, but they've only gone down from 50 to 38. So it's not so bad over the last 4 or 5 years. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you, everyone. What were you calling?
Thank you, Terry. Yes. Yeah, so going from 90